Yo, what is good, YouTube? It is your boy James, and today I'm coming at y'all with a video that I've been pushing off, but I'm finally gonna make it. Today we're gonna be previewing and predicting the Los Angeles Lakers, a team that, man, it's tough for me to sit here and really know what I'm gonna talk about. I have a couple topics I do want to talk about. But I know this is probably going to be one of my more viewed videos, so if you guys did enjoy, hopefully I didn't hurt your feelings too much, like and subscribe. But other than that, we can get right into it. And the first thing I do want to talk about is just the hiring of Darvin Ham. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of things said about Frank Vogel. I'm going to be honest, once it got later in the year, I kind of stopped watching Lakers, so I did um, really know, how the season ended with him coaching wise, like scheme wise. But it was a necessary move, and I do really like Darvin Ham. Now, my only thing is that is a first. This is a first year head coach in kind of a tough situation. And like I said, I do think he's going to be a very good coach. But I just find it hard to sit here and say that first year Darvin Ham, I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but it's just going to be this amazing coach right away because he's got a lot of things he needs to figure out. But it was a very good hiring. But I just think maybe some guys need to pump the brakes a little bit because in there, it's a first year head coach with a interesting roster that doesn't really fit together all that well. And some, a lot. There's just a lot of going on in Laker world, right? So I love the hire. From what I've seen, it was necessary. But you might guys want to pump the brakes just a little bit on your hype for him. Now, I forgot to close this. The next thing I do want to talk about was just the Patrick Beverley trade real quick and his fit with Russ. As a Clippers fan, I know Pat Beverley. I know what he's going to give you. And I, honestly, it hurts to say, loved this deal. Um, I thought it was really good. I thought that the two things the Lakers were missing, although I don't think they're a bad defensive team, but I will talk about that later. Um, I felt like they were missing a straight up one on one guy you can trust. Because at the end of the day, although teams switch a lot and you're going to just need versatile defenders all over the floor, I do think you need guys, and this is going to be their guy, but that you can just stick and say, guard this guy. No switch, right? And I didn't think the Lakers had a lot of guys like that. Um, and I think also spot up shooting. I don't think this is a bad shooting roster, but I think it really lacks spot up shooters, like guys that I trust sitting in that corner. Because there's a big difference between guys who can spot and guys who are good 3 point shooters. So I think it was good to bring in a guy who can spot in that corner and shoot, and he'll bring defense. So I love this move. The leadership. Everyone knows Pat Bev is very vocal. So I think that he's going to be really big. Great move by the Lakers. I really like it. Like I said, it hurts, but I think this was a very good move, very necessary move. And you gave up THT and Stanley. And although I liked, I don't say I liked Stanley, but I liked what his role could have been. Um, yeah, I think this is a necessary move. Real quick, talking about his fit with Russ, it's interesting. I think Pat Bev will be more of that two guard, and I think he can do that. I still think, although you're going to give LeBron more of the reins, I still think you have to do everything you can to let Russell Westbrook succeed, and I think that's letting him be the one. And I think Patrick Beverley can be a very good two guard. Spot in the corners, maybe run around a little bit, cut. But yeah, just let him spot, let him go around, shoot, let him play that two role, and then let him go guard the team's best guard or best player on the other side. So I don't know. The fit I don't hate. I just think it's interesting. I think Pat Bev should be the two. I think he should play like a shooting guard, while Russell Westbrook continues to be that point guard. Um, I know there's some 4 out 1 in stuff with Darvin Ham. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just talking pure lineup. Um, when you're running just normal sets. So yeah, I really like the move. The fit is interesting, but let Pat Bev be the two. And I think he's done it at points in his career, but he's never been like a starting shooting guard. And then normal. Let's put together what my lineup, what I think my lineup should be. Another thing I wanted to talk about is I kind of just do this. Um, Defense and shooting. I think this team lacks a lot of shooting depth. I just think that I like Bryant. I like guys like AD. I trust LeBron. I trust Russ in the corner. Like I said, I just sometimes I don't see the spot up ability. I know Russ and Pabev can both spot in the corner, but like it's like is Thomas Bryant gonna spot in the corner for you? How much is he gonna, where's AD gonna fit and all that? So I don't know. I think this team has gotten better shooting wise, but the bench is kind of where it comes. I still like Nunn a lot. I like Kendrick Nunn a lot. I really liked him in Miami. I think a couple Lakers fans have kind of kicked him down a little too quick, um, personally. But I like him. I think he'll bounce back. I just want to see if I'm missing anyone. Oh, okay. Um, Also, people have talked about Austin Reeves starting at the two, but for me, I like Reeves off the bench. I like Pat Bev being in that starting role. Reeves is a guy I really like. Um, he's one of those guys that like you when you see a skinny player, right? You go, he needs to bulk. And Austin Reeves to me is a guy that like, although he probably should put up a couple more pounds, I don't know. He just seems like a guy that if he goes and puts on a whole bunch of muscle, it won't really fit him the same. Because guys, KD pops to mind. I mean, there is guys whose lengthiness, obviously Reeves is shorter, but there is guys who it's sometimes like this is a completely weird comparison, but like pitchers who are fat. There's a lot of pitchers in the MLB who cut weight and they don't pitch like they used to. And for me, I'd like to see him put on some weight, but I don't want to see Reeves putting up 25 pounds of muscle in the offseason. But I really like Reeves. I think it was great for them. When he was selected by the Pistons, I loved it. So I like Reeves a lot. And playing next to him is going to be Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker is interesting. He's like when it came to that like $6 million range exception that they were going to be able to give someone. When they gave it to Lonnie Walker, I just said, ugh. And I know they want to bring in some youth, and I don't hate it, but I guess Porter and Rocco and Tucker didn't go for that $6 million range. But it's just like, does Lonnie Walker really just fit? I'm just interested on what he's shooting um, in his career from three. 34%. I mean, that's not awful. If Lonnie Walker comes in and shoots 34%, I think that's fine. Um, I like his upside a little bit. I just think, although DeMar was there, if he didn't take a huge leap under Greg Popovich, I don't expect him to take a huge one under Darvin Ham. And that's no disrespect, but that's kind of where I sit there. Then you got JTA. JTA is a guy that I do like. We had discussions, and it got a little heated. But we had discussions about JTA, and I don't hate JTA, but I just think his role here is going to be a little too much for him. I think he's a guy who should come in and play 10 minutes a game, really, and just kind of be that. And I think he's going to be required to do a little more here. I don't think I don't want to see JTA in my playoff rotation. I'm sorry. I don't. The Warriors didn't use him. But I don't hate JTA, but I just don't like the fact that like when we talked about it, he's probably gonna have to close. Do I want JTA to be a closer? Like no, I don't. So like I said, I don't hate JTA. Sometimes like with the discussions I've had, I think some people might think I do. I think his role is gonna be a little too magnified for what I would want. And I'm not saying he can't come in and be everything the Lakers need him to be. Um, but I don't know. I'm worried that he might get put into a role that is a little too much for him. But he is going to get more chances because he was on a loaded Warriors team. Um, so I don't know. JTA was a good signing, and then Damian Jones backup center. That's just what he is, a backup center, and I'm fine with it. So I look at this roster and I say, I don't hate it. I really don't. I think some people are a little lower on the Lakers than I am. I don't hate it. I really don't. I think when you have LeBron and AD, you can do anything. I did want to talk about AD real quick. Um, I am a fan of Anthony Davis. I kind of like just from my friends got this AD hate because I think Kawhi was better. I'll still stick by that. Um, but for me, I'm gonna give him a pass on the injuries. Tall guys, they have tendencies to get hurt more often. It's fair. Um, and I know part of his injuries played into this, but he can't shoot 17%. He can't shoot whatever he was shooting from mid range. Um, I just need him to do more than that. I think that's where he's at his best. I've seen some shooting videos of him. His form looks good, especially from a tall guy. But I don't give a fuck about him making open threes in a basketball court. NBA players hit 100 in a row. A little bit of an exaggeration, but NBA players with good three balls will sit in an open gym and shoot for fucking ever, making every single one. Um, so, like I said, I need AD to take a little bit. I would just say more consistency. Um, Other guys, Max Christie is a guy I really like. Fit wise, I don't think he'll ever be anything too crazy, but a good 3-and-D guy. Um, Wenyon Gabriel is a guy who I think is cool, as 10th, 11th man. And then they brought in Troy Brown Jr. He's never really got like a consistent PT wherever he's went, so I'm not too crazy over Troy Brown Jr. He actually did look good when the trade initially happened for Gafford. Like he had actually shown some flash, but he didn't really stick in Chicago. So he might be an interesting guy. Um, but other than that, to wrap it up, like prediction wise, I think this team, like I said, I want to be behind the Lakers. I truly do. I think they're like 6, 7, 8, 9. Like that's where I think they sit. I think they can beat anyone in the playoffs. But the thing that's hard for me is like, if you said Minnesota Lakers first round, who you taking? I'm gonna take the Lakers. But in the regular season, who's gonna be better? Probably the Timberwolves. So that's where I'm sitting seeding wise. Playoff wise, I genuinely think they can beat anyone. But I look at like I'm very high on the Pelicans. I think if that all works out, I look at Clippers and Warriors, and I don't really, and maybe even, actually, I think they could beat the Nuggets. But I look at Clippers, Warriors, and say I don't really see an avenue that they can beat those guys. But for me, I'll predict them as like a second round exit. Honestly, like I said, I think LeBron and AD will get you through a first round. Um, I just when it comes to those two teams, and then you've got Nuggets, Grizzlies, Pelicans. Timberwolves, even though, like I said, I think I would beat them. There's a whole bunch of teams, right? So, Suns, I think they would beat the Suns, but I'm gonna say second round exit. Maybe they could squeeze by the Warriors or Clippers, but those are the two teams that I think, even with LeBron and AD, I don't think they have the roster to get by. Um, but other than that, this was kind of all over the place. But I hope you guys did enjoy. Um, like I said, I'm not as low on the Lakers as other people. I do want to do a more in-depth video on them, just talking about their future and things of that nature. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy. Please like and subscribe if you did. It would mean a lot. You can check out my Twitter or my 2K channel, gaming channel down below. But other than that, peace out.